So the first project that I'm actually really proud of and I really enjoyed doing was Expo. I say this because I was doing it about a place I love and the place where I'm from, England, and I was very proud. I wore an England rugby top when I was talking to the judges, and I wore a jester's hat, which is a hat, not a chair. And you really did have to know everything and how to be comfortable with the work that you were researching. And this is a time lapse of all the work that I had to do. So my teacher, Miss Selves, she would show us the PowerPoint of the topic we had to write about, and then we would relate that back to our country. So population density, she would show us a PowerPoint, our teachers about it, and then we would relate that back to our country. In my case, it was England. So.
Okay, so I've been asked to explain my learning within some pillars, so I picked 3. Of these are technologically empowered, actively engaged, and academically vital. So let's get started with OneNote. So OneNote's a software that Microsoft makes that I had never heard of before coming to Appleby, and it turns out that it's really, really important because you can get all of your notes down really quickly, and I use it in basically all of my classes. And you can get a broad outlook of what you're supposed to do, or I can go into the more specifics just by going into these notebooks, which is great for me because at my old school everything was pencil and paper, and I could not get my thoughts down that quickly. I'd have an English teacher telling me my writing's a mess every single day. But enough about that again. So now I can just think of something and then it's down there. I've got it done. It's on here permanently and I can use it whenever I want and expand and pretty much do whatever I want on here. So first off, there's strings. That's a photo of a pretty generic looking double bass. So I started off in grade 7 with no experience whatsoever, but then I got to know my instrument. I actually figured out how to hold the thing, did some lessons, and got okay at it in grade 7. Started playing harder stuff, really briefly forgot my instrument existed over the summer. Then I managed to bounce back from that, fortunately for me. Did some more lessons, learned some harder music, and what do you know, I actually think I'm half decent at it now.
Okay. The first pillar is actively engaged. Yeah, we will be engaged in many ways, and I think actively engaged is not just about sport, it's also about service and the art that we do at school. The first thing I'm going to talk about is sport. For 2 years, I didn't choose basketball as my first time sport. This team picture with 2 class here, and I thought basketball is actually kind of getting ready because like for fencing and swimming, it's more like a solo rather than in a team. And being working in a team and have a leader in your team or have a captain, it's pretty much just you do your own stuff and then people cheer you up. That's everything. I think that's kind of team. And actually swimming is the same first sport. I've been swimming since I was like really young age. I've been thrown into a pool, which is pretty much it's really hard time when I was younger, and yeah, but right now like swimming is one of my favorite sport. Although I wasn't that good at it. And then I did soccer for my third term sport. Last year, before I come to Appleby College, although I know soccer is a kickball, although I thought you just kick it, nothing else you do, rather than just score and how to score, how to kick a ball, so you have a high chance to score, and how to work together as a team.
Before I came to Appleby, I didn't really have much experience with technology. I had a computer, because the ASUS computer was not good. I only used it for searching the web and things like that. But then when I got to Appleby and I got my computer, I had to use it more, because we had to use it for our everyday lives. So I got to know the programs and how it worked, kind of. And then I really started my interest for technology when in our history class we were doing a Dragon's Den presentation, and we each had to come up with our businesses. And me and my partner Andrews was a website that searched the internet for a product, and because this was all kind of self-taught, right, from anyone. That's what shows up when you type how to make a search bar into YouTube. But then later, and I realized how interested I was in technology, and I kind of wanted to know more about it. Then I heard about Minecraft and how you could edit and program with Java. So I started to try to learn Java on my own, which was kind of hard. I didn't really know much about it. But I tried to do the same thing with internet tutorials and stuff. And then Mr. Miskew was substituting for us one day, and he had told us about a website called Code Academy, which is a website that teaches you all the skills that you need to code and program stuff, which would help me if I continue with it in grade 9 and 10, and hopefully later on too, in the computer programming course, which I have to take. This is just the progress that I've done with JavaScript and building a website.
Lastly, it's the PRAM Bureau, which was hosted in Prague 2 years ago. This is the first time I will be joined, and I was the youngest there. There's 9 of us, and we were with Miss Telly and Mrs. Telly. And actually, I wasn't. That was a trip from grade 9 to grade 12. I don't know why, but the accident accepted me. And Appleby will be chosen to represent either USA or Vietnam. I was in the Environmental Council for USA. We talk about shale gas and the harmful chemical, which should be completely just get off no chemical, or should we just slow it down?
So how am I ready for upper school? So this year I took a grade 9 French course, so I know what the workload's going to be like and how much work I'm going to have to do. And also, being on the varsity team for grade 7 and 8, I got to see what it's like to have sports after school in 3rd term. So I learned about how to manage my time and also leadership. That was a big part. I learned so much in middle school about how to be a good leader, and I can take that into upper school and my rest of my time at Appleby.
So, how's this preparing for you on? I think I'm ready for upper one because through all the different aspects of the Appleby community, from actively engaged, academically vital, community spirited, have all taught me a lot of really good skills such as management skills, organizational skills, stress skills, and management skills, as well as studying skills and many more. So I think that through all these things that I've learned, I'm ready for upper one.
So the next thing I'm going to talk about is actively engaged. So when I first came to Appleby, there was a lot of opportunities for me to try new things that I couldn't do at my old school, such as sport teams, service trips, Ottawa, Temagami, and so on. So when I figured out I had to choose a sport, I was really shy, and since it was my first year here, so I decided to do something that I was more experienced in. So I did volleyball because I've been playing volleyball for a long time, and I had a lot of fun and I learned new skills. But when the 2nd term came around, I decided to try a new sport that I'd never tried before. I tried squash. I had a great time. Like, I developed my skills over the few weeks that I played, and it was great. So I feel like whatever sport team I was on this year, I had a lot of fun, and I learned many new skills, many vital skills such as cooperation, teamwork, collaboration, and also athletic skills, which I can use in grade 9.
My presentation of learning. About me. Okay, so before I went to Appleby, I went to Fernhill, and I went for 9 years. So going to a school for 9 years, I was excited to go to a new school. And my brother went to Appleby for middle school, and he told me how great it was and how much he enjoyed it. So I was really excited when I first came. So I have a brother, and he's in grade 10. He's finishing grade 10 this year at Appleby. And one of the 2 favorite things I like to do are swimming and softball. So I play outside of school softball for the Mississauga Tigers, and I also play on the girls varsity softball team here at Appleby and the middle school team. And then for swimming, I used to swim outside of school for Oak, and now I just swim inside of school, and I swim for the middle school team. Okay, so the 3 pillars I chose to do today are universally diverse, academically vital, and actively engaged. I chose these 3 because I thought they represented me the most. Okay, so my first pillar is universally diverse. So over March break, I got the amazing opportunity to go on a service trip to Costa Rica. And while we were there, we helped in a town called La Carpio, where we cleaned up the area and we helped fix the sewage system. We also went and helped at a school where we cleaned up the area and helped build their floor for the cafeteria. And that school only had 10 kids, about 10 kids, and it was only accessible by boat, so it was a pretty small school. And we also helped out at a turtle hatchery while we were there. And while we were there, we also got chances to go do some tourism and sightseeing. And while we were there, we got to go and build masts with a local Costa Rican.
So, 3 pillars of interest. I chose to do actively engaged, academically vital, and community spirited. So, actively engaged. So, first thing I noticed when I came to Appleby was how actively engaged it was. They had so many more sports options, arts, and just all-around engagement, much more than my old school. So watching my siblings, as I mentioned before, I have 3 siblings that all went through Appleby as well. And I would always hear of all the work they had to do and all the stress in the house, especially around exam times, because there was one year where all 3 of them were in Appleby together. So yeah, it was pretty crazy sometimes, and I sort of knew how academically vital the school was before I even got here, watching my siblings. So that was really cool. And so how I learned from being gated. In middle 1 and middle 2, I got gated a few times. And when it happened, I was really, really nervous, and as I wasn't the most organized person. So I would sort of like leave everything to the last minute. And being gated was sort of a good opportunity in a way, because it taught me not to leave stuff to the last minute.